Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into how the smartest institutions are totally flipping the script on AI, turning all that panic into a really powerful new playbook for education.
For months, this has been the question, right? It's been in every school board meeting, every faculty lounge, to ban or to allow. Seems like a pretty simple choice.
But what if that's the wrong question entirely? Turns out the most forward-thinking schools are saying there's a much smarter way to look at this. So let's break it down.
Okay, so first up, let's really get a handle on the core problem that schools are grappling with right now.
You see, there's been this fundamental shift. In the past, technology was always pushed from the top down, by the administration. But AI, it's totally different. It's bubbling up from the bottom. It's being driven by the students themselves. And that's exactly why the old playbook of just banning things, it just doesn't work anymore.
So, if the old way is out, what does a really effective modern AI policy even look like? Let's take a look at what's becoming the new gold standard.
And here's the absolute key. The best policies, they completely shift the conversation. It's no longer about how do we stop this thing. Instead, it's how can this tool actually help us reach our educational goals? It's a simple reframe, but man, is it powerful.
Okay, so how does this idea translate into something, practical? Well, the World Economic Forum's Teach AI initiative has laid it out. They've identified 7 core principles that you see popping up in all of the most successful policies.
So the first 3 are really the foundation, the bedrock. First, it's about being purpose-driven. That means AI use is always tied to a specific learning outcome. Second, it's about compliance. So you're not reinventing the wheel on privacy and data security. And third, and this is so important, it's about promoting AI literacy. You have to actively teach everyone, students and staff, how to use these tools effectively and, of course, ethically.
And this quote here from the Lower Merion School District, it just nails that mindset shift. They're not being defensive. It's a proactive choice to view AI as an opportunity to learn and grow. And honestly, that changes everything.
All right, the next 4 principles are all about putting this into action. You've got to weigh the risks and benefits. You preserve academic integrity, but you do it with transparency, not with bans that are never going to work anyway. You make sure humans are still in charge. And this one is huge. You build a policy that's a living, breathing document, something that can evolve. Because let's be real, the tech is going to change in a heartbeat.
I love this metaphor from the Peninsula School District. They compare AI to a GPS. Think about it. A GPS can suggest a route, it can give you tons of information, but you, the student, the teacher, you are always the one driving the car. The AI is there to augment your judgment, not replace it. It's a perfect analogy.
But great principles are only half the battle, right? A principle hanging on a poster doesn't really help a teacher figure out what to do on a Tuesday morning. They need a practical toolkit, something they can use right now.
And this is where the Ottawa Catholic School Board comes in with a brilliant model. Instead of some clunky one-size-fits-all rule, they created this really nuanced 3-tiered framework for using AI. You've got permissive, moderate, and restrictive.
And this is where it all clicks. This is where the abstract stuff becomes super concrete. Brainstorming an essay topic? Go for it. That's permissive. Using a tool to check the grammar on your first draft? That's moderate. Writing an in-class final exam? Nope, that's restrictive. All of a sudden, any teacher anywhere can see exactly how to apply this to their own lesson plans. Now, beyond just those tiers, a really solid policy has a few other key parts. You need crystal clear rules on transparency, like making kids cite the AI they use. You need strong privacy safeguards to guide people on what's safe to share. And, this is so crucial, you need an ethical framework that ties the use of AI right back to the school's core mission and its values.
Okay, so that's what's happening inside the schools themselves. But what about the bigger picture? How are major governing bodies and top-tier universities putting these ideas into action on a national or even an international scale?
Well, that brings us to the European Union's landmark AI Act. And it's a big deal. It actually classifies most AI used in education as high risk. Why? Because these systems have the potential to determine the entire course of a person's life. And here's why this matters to everyone, everywhere. EU regulations very often become the unofficial standard for the rest of the world.
And that high-risk label, it's not just for show. It comes with some serious, rigorous requirements. We're talking mandatory data protection assessments, real human oversight, super comprehensive documentation, and total transparency for users. This isn't messing around. It's a very serious, structured approach to safety.
And of course, we see these principles applied a bit differently depending on the context. For K through 12, a model like Ottawa's is going to focus on age-appropriate guidelines and resources for parents. But then you look at higher education, a place like Oxford University, and the focus shifts. It becomes much more about workplace readiness, using security-vetted tools, and how AI fits into advanced research.
So, after looking at all these examples, from kindergarten all the way to a PhD program, what are the big takeaways for your own school or institution? How do you actually build a framework that's future-proof?
Here's the bottom line. The gold standard for AI policy is not about restriction. It's about balance. It's about adaptation. And most of all, it's about purposeful integration that is tied directly to real, meaningful learning goals.
When you strip it all away, it really comes down to this one idea: using this amazing technology to enhance what makes education human, not to replace it. It's all about protecting the integrity, the agency, and that human connection that makes learning truly meaningful.
And that really leaves us with one final, crucial question that every single educational leader out there needs to be asking. Is your institution's AI policy built to restrict the past, or is it built to embrace the future? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. We really hope it's given you some valuable insights as you think about the future of AI in education.